Hi everyone, welcome back. So in this video I'm going to show you how I turned the final one, the fourth piece of this collection for a client. These are tea caddies, and these are from Sapele mahogany. Now they all have nice suction fit, but it's on a loose side, so I don't want this to be very hard to open or close because you don't want to spill the tea from the inside. So all of these have this kind of fit, nice suction fit, just needs a little effort to close and open, but still it's not loose, so just the right amount. This one is probably the best one. So I rough turned these roughly a month ago or so, and these had time to warp a little bit if they want. That way, once I chew this up, this will remain as stable as the wood wants to be. So I stack all the favors in my way. Hope that's the expression. So everything stays nice and true. But wood wants to warp if it wants to warp, so you cannot prevent that. So like I said, I'll just tune you in as I finish the fourth one here. So I always start with the top first, so that will go in a chuck, nice and secure. And as you can see, that didn't warp as much, but it still has a little warp to it. So I can increase the speed to maximum on this spindle pulley. That's 1660 RPM. And all I want to do now first is actually, before I start to hollow this out, just double check the tenon here of the flange, so I don't go past that, and I don't have a lot of room. Square and scraper, and like I said, the opening is bigger than the back, so almost nothing at the opening, just a little bit to chew it up, and a little wider cut at the back. And now I can again check. And that is still a little wider at the opening, so a little more at the back. So that's the first crucial part, to get it nice and right. So at least parallel, but I like to have slight dovetail, which in this case it is. So the opening is just a little bit narrower than the back. And that's a nice clean cut that will be sanding quite well. Now I want to finish the very bottom, and for that I'll use this French curve or asymmetric curve scraper and just get a little dome. And that feels okay. A little more at the very top. Still have a little knob at the center, but everything else is nice and clean on the inside, so just take care of that knob. There we go, that should be okay. A little taper here at the very top here. I like to do that with a skew. So just ever so slightly, and I can use a skew side, make a little chamfer here, so I can now sand the inside nice and finish. The flange, the side here, I won't touch with 180, the side with 240 I'll start sand, but I want to get this ridge sanded. And I want to double check before I take it off the chuck. The flange here, and that is now, I would say, parallel. Yeah, that's parallel, or just ever so slight dovetail, so I didn't sand too much. That's okay, and it's nice and flat, which is what I'm after. No, so now I can take this off. So it's done on the inside, and I'll apply the oil later. So now the base can go in the chuck. Won't fit over the base here, so it's just ever so slightly big, but that's at least I know the barrier where I can hollow, and I'll probably go up to here, up to that line, and to true this up I'm going to use this 8mm thick, this is carbon steel scraper, old one. I just repurposed it. It was originally used this side up, but I converted it, and it was a sort of a ball shape here, so you could undercut something, but I removed that ball, but I still have left this slope here, but eventually that will go away as well. So this will probably scream quite a bit. And after the flange here, I'll start taper and get it wider at the bottom than on the top. So that's to the bottom. That's not too bad of a scrape on the side, and just want to check at the very bottom how much timber I have here, and it says 16 mil, so I can widen it at the bottom even more, but still have original depth hole in place, so I want to get deeper first. So I can't see what's happening. I do this by feel. So I feel the lump in the middle. So I feel the lump in the middle, and I scrape that first, and then pull to the side. Okay, and like I said, I want to widen the bottom, and I'll continue or start to swing away from the handle once I get past the flange here. Check the progress. There is a step at the very corner, which is to be expected, and I can still thin it down a little bit more at the very bottom. So again, I'll widen the bottom. So I'm feeling the lump in the middle. Now the way I'll sand this is I use this stick with a curve cut from the bandsaw. Just place the sandpaper in, roll it, and I also squish it a little bit here, so once I push it in, these will also sand the end grain a little bit. So I need to adjust the diameter here, so that's the next stage. And again, get this so it's tight fit. Later I'll worried about getting a nice suction fit. And I have a little nick on my skew here, so I'll just sharpen it. Okay, so skew is now sharp again, and just first screw up the flange here, and I'll make this nice and clean. That's good. Okay, so this is still too thick. So making just taper at the end. Still thick. Okay, so this is now getting over, and it fits roughly here, around 5 mil from the edge. Okay, let's test fit. Okay, so that's again really nice and tight, which is good, so I can take a little bit off again. This should fit now over, and it does. I still have to reduce the length of the tenon for just a little bit. Still a little bit long. So it's okay fit, so I'll just continue on with shaping. I'll just bring the tailstock in just as a sort of safety measure, let's say, but at the end of the shaping I'll remove it. So all 4 parts should be a little bit different, so you can distinguish which T is in which part. Okay, so that's roughing cuts to get it nice and true, and the seam here looks quite good. Now I did forget one crucial thing to do, and that is to measure where the inside are. So the bottom is here, and on the top it's here. So I want exact measurements, so there we go. So the inside of the top is finished here and the bottom is here. So I like to set some of the boundaries first. I use a parting tool and let's go around 10 mil, 12 mil away from the inside. Don't have to go very thin. Now here I'll just for now make it like this, and I can remove all of this bulk. And I want to clean up the top. Now all four pots have this sort of a big bead around the corner to grab it easily to open up. So that's what I'm going to do on this one as well. And I do this by eye, and I'll go on that line, make a bead, V. And I can roll this side of the bead. Raise the rest a little bit so it's a little bit more comfortable. And I'll roll this side as well. There we go. Little finishing touches. Get nice crisp corners. Okay. And the same here on the end grain, and I'll just do this with the corner of the, or point with the steel. There we go, and use the bevel side just to shape the bead. And now I can extend this all the way down. So that's parted off. I'll spindle gouge and just clean up the end grain. Nice and gently through the center, and just to see if that everything is cut nice and clean. And it is, so I can make something here where the transition is. I'll just screw it up on this part of the flange. Okay, that's nice and true. and like on the other one, I'll make a little V and then a bead, just to make it apart, and maybe I'll actually make a bead on this side, and I'm not sure yet. Okay, so let's go first with the V-cut. There is enough room to make a little bigger V-cut, and on this one as well. Try to get those matching. Okay, that's looking good. And now I want to make a bead or something to make it a little bit different than the other straight part. And I think I'll go to the top, or yeah, to the top. Let's go to the top, or just make another V. Preferably the same as the lower one. And I think I'll leave it as it is now. So, as you see, the fit is quite firm, so I need to adjust that. So this, by the look of it, the top portion is rubbing more than the bottom, and I'll use just a little bit of 400 grit. Just sand a little by little. Sand this while I'm here. I forgot to do that once I trim the top. Okay, that's quite good, and that's actually on a lucky strike number 1, I guess. Just perfect. Maybe a little bit more. Just a little bit more, because this will expand a little bit and then it will shrink and so on, and I want this to stay relatively loose. Okay, that's... I'll leave it as it is. On this one you won't be able to see, but the bottom is just ever so slightly smaller diameter than the top. So that's what I want to do on this one as well. Bigger skew. Okay, that should be enough. Just a little bit of off center, let's say. This thin parting tool, just to get this a little bit further in. And so now I can sand all of these, and I'll flip it around to finish the bottom. Jam chuck that I used on other 3. You can see a few steps here, as they are slightly different in sizes, and this will almost fit the last step, so I'll just have to make this a little bit smaller. Just a little bit. perfect fit. I'll use spindle gouge. Okay, that's quite good. Make a little taper here so it looks like elevated from the table, and one more cut. I'll use a skew here to part it off. And I'll use skew to finish the bottom. Or I can use a spindle gouge, maybe a little bit easier. Oops. Slowly through center. And with the skew I'll just put a little decoration here. Okay, so the box is nicely finished, so I just have to put the oil on. It looks really nice and simple, and you can see it opens up just perfectly. A little bit like hesitant on the closing, so I still have to sand just ever so slightly, but you can see without too much resistance, and that's what I want. So a little bit of tweaking with the sandpaper, but that's pretty much it. So I'll now sign it, oil it, and it can join the other three.